Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our today's webinar about the One Belt and One Road initiative. It's a pleasure to have you here with us online today. And to start, I would like to give you a few technical information. So if you would like to enter a full screen mode, please press on this icon on the top right corner of your screen. And you do the same if you want to exit this mode again. Please use also the chat function on your screen. So if you would like to share any questions or comments with us, please use this chat function. Just be aware that all the participants can read your comments and questions. The questions will be answered, if appropriate, during the presentation or at the end of every presentation. Otherwise, we will take them to the end of the webinar and have the answers ready for you at the end of the webinar. So this is the overview of what is expecting you in the next 45 minutes. We will give you a short overview on the initiative and how important that issue might be for Swiss companies. We would like also to tell you a bit more about how Swiss companies could participate in this initiative. And furthermore, today we will focus not only on China, but also on Central Asia, with a special focus on Kazakhstan, a country which is heavily affected by this whole initiative. To kick off, I would like to give you a short overview on about our organization, Switzerland Global Enterprise. We are a private organization with a mandate from SECO, from State Secretary for Economic Affairs. We are celebrating our 90 years anniversary this year, so we were founded in 1927. And we have some 2,200 member companies in Switzerland and Liechtenstein. Our head office is here in Zurich, but also offices in Lugano and Lausanne. And we do have 26 representations worldwide. I will come back to this later. The latest of them opened in Jakarta this spring. Together with our specialists here in Switzerland and our huge network worldwide, we are able to support Swiss SMEs all along their internationalization process. We have a lot of services we can offer to you as a Swiss company. You can see this on this slide. We have three different types of services: part information, consultancy, and contact. So there's a wide range of free services which are offered to you. For example, for questions about customs, tax, certifications abroad. There's a possibility for free consulting. If you have questions about any market in the world, you can contact us and have your free one-to-one consultancy here or at your offices. We do offer paid mandates as well, and we do tailor-made market research for you or look for a business partner and so on. So if you have any questions regarding export or internationalization, the best idea is just to call us or drop us an email, and we will be happy to support you. Now here you can see our global network with the countries with the flag. You can see where there are Swiss business hubs or trade points. So these are our representation offices. And in all those countries, we are able to support you with the whole range of our services. A huge advantage of this network is that our representation offices are based at the Swiss embassies, so we can really use these official channels as well to support Swiss companies. Last year, we opened a representation office in Astana, whose head, Pavel Ivanov, is today with us, and we can really support you there in Central Asia. Now I would like the topic of the One Belt, One Road initiative. You can hear a lot of names of this initiative: One Belt, One Road, just Belt and Road, or short OBOR, or the New Silk Road initiative. Now, whatever you call it, it's just one of the biggest infrastructure projects, and it's more than just an infrastructure project that has been started ever. I'm happy to have two specialists with me today who will be able to share their experience and knowledge with you in the next 45 minutes. First of all, we will hear Mr. Simeon Probst. He's a partner at PwC, responsible for custom taxes and trade and indirect taxes. He will give us an overview on how the initiative is set up and also how Swiss companies could participate. After Mr. Probst, we will hear Mr. Ivanov from the TradePoint Kazakhstan, who will focus on the Kazakh market. So please, Mr. Probst, may I ask you to start your presentation?
So thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. As we hear One Belt, One Road, or the Belt and Road Initiative, it's a common theme when the Chinese economic development is addressed in articles, conferences, talks, and reports. My speech intends to shed light on the role that Switzerland and China can play together in the overall framework of this One Belt and Road Initiative, and to identify benefits for both economies on the basis of win-win situation for Chinese and Swiss companies playing on each other's economic strength. A further objective is to contribute to the development of the economies of China and Switzerland, as well as other economies along the Belt and Road Corridor. When looking at the global map, it first strikes that One Belt, One Road primarily bridges two continents, Asia and Europe. However, when traveling along the Belt and Road Corridor, when one takes a closer look, several parts of Africa are touched and involved as well. Another characteristic of Belt and Road is that both developed and developing countries are affected and involved. There is no other global initiative that includes these three continents with nations at various economic development stages, initiative by the biggest economic player in Asia. The challenge the Belt and Road Initiative wants to resolve requires answers that are affordable, sustainable, and state-of-the-art. In order to achieve this, it is essential that the capabilities and advantages of both developing and developed economies are utilized and combined. When further looking at the overall concept, it becomes clear that it is a multi-decade undertaking that is comprised of hundreds, if not thousands, of individual investments projects spread across all the countries that are there involved. These individual projects have to be seen in the context of the overall picture, that is, it's necessary to avoid getting lost in the detail and to imagine situation where the individual solution or technologies used are incompatible with each other. One example of such an incompatible technology standards are the train tracks. In Russia, they have a different width than in Europe and in China. So locomotives and train cars cannot use the tracks in the other region. Therefore, each train traveling between China and Europe has to be converted to the different system at selected train stations. The conversion stations required expensive equipment and installations and leads to significant idle time for each train and each journey. Following the above example of the different train track system, technical and non-technical standards have to be developed where not already available. They have to address the need of all stakeholders, solving the challenge at the lowest possible cost, while being able to apply and made available to all involved. Therefore, the standards have to be agreed upon in a multi-regional, multi-country manner. Ideally, multilateral bodies that already exist should be utilized in that process, and it had to be avoided at all costs that one nation or technology company dictates the standards, creating a risk that standards are not or cannot be followed by other stakeholders. Such a situation would not only harm economic development, it would impact the safety and security of the people and goods transported, as well as increase the risk of investment, therefore reducing the attractiveness of our investors. The financing needs for the vast numbers of projects will execute the public funding availability. Private investors, be they international players or local investors, will have to fill the gap. To attract private funds for the financing of the individual project, public-private partnerships, so-called PPP, will have to be established. The advantage of a PPP project is that international standards for tendering can and will be used. Across Asia, countries have made big progress in creating processes and standards to design and document PPP projects, which include good practice, and the Philippines have made remarkable progress in stimulating interests among national and international financing investors for their infrastructure projects. These countries can serve as an example and role model for other developing countries along the Belt and Road Corridor. The benefits of applying international standards for all projects that want to attract private investors includes the availability of detailed information for investors, be it for PPP or non-PPP, for projects that required international public tendering. Investors have to answer their stakeholders' questions and comply with external and internal transparency and governance guidelines, independent of whether they are private, industrial, and public investors. All of them want to ensure that for each project, not only the available capital is utilized and in an optimal way, but also that transparency rules and best governance standards are implemented. Applying internationally accepted best practice PPP standards will increase the availability of capital as well as ensure that the capital will be put into use efficiently. For many countries involved in the One Belt and Road initiative, it's not yet common practice to interact with other economies at different stages of their development and expose themselves to such a mix. For some countries, it will be a novelty to be on the radar of the international investors, to the private or institutional. Thus, in these countries, investment approvals will have to be processed in higher numbers, requiring higher efficiency, and scrutiny of the process itself includes legal aspects such as international arbitration courts and so on. This in itself is learning process, and that will generate soft as well as hard benefits. Soft in terms of gaining a better cultural understanding of how to deal with economies at different stages of development, and hard in terms of having investors who are willing to work in the respective economy for the first time. This will also result in review of local legal framework in order to attract international investments that meet the needs for the local society. Both China and Switzerland can provide valuable experience for many of these aspects described above. China adds values to its size, geopolitical situation, and economic development experience over the past 30 years. China's domestic market has created corporations as well as government that knows how to apply its experience in its fast and vast economic development. And finally, Switzerland adds value due to its focus on providing support for countries to develop their economy further and its experience as a technology leader. Switzerland's small domestic market demands permanent interaction with other economies, be they near or far from the Swiss company's home base. For Swiss companies to be successful in Switzerland and their overseas market, the product have to be competitive and leading in their respective industry. This is achieved by a focus on innovative products and a level of quality that justify a premium price. These are global brands serving customers across the world. Typically, the company size is a characteristic of a SME, so a small and medium-sized enterprise. The capability of these companies are only known to the industry experts and are little known outside their industry. The companies invest major resources in research and development to maintain their position as global leader, providing tailor-made solutions for their clients to solve their challenges. With such a profile, it is natural that these companies will not have the resources to compete with Chinese or global engineering firms in the PPP tendering process. However, their technology can create a differentiation between the consortium bidding for the tender by providing technology solution for the PPP tender requirements. The obvious solution is to include Swiss technology companies in the bidding of the consortiums. The challenge is to bring the consortium and the Swiss technology together and makes them aware of the opportunity in working together. There we have to go back and we need several platforms to achieve these exits in Switzerland. So a platform like Economy Suisse, like the Swiss Industry Association, the Swiss Chinese Chamber of Commerce, and clearly also the Swiss Global Enterprise. Often it's the case that the solution to tender requirements or technology challenges are not delivered by a single company. Swiss companies work together to tackle technical challenges and to fulfill all requirements. They kind of create mini consortiums themselves for the duration of a project or for a product group. These informal groups of companies are highly effective and efficient. It is clear that pooling resources would also allow for higher recognition of Swiss technology partners for Chinese firms that compete for tenders in the PPP project. In spring 2016, the Chinese President Xi Jinping and the Swiss President Johannes Schneider-Ammann agreed in Beijing to form an innovation platform that connects the highly innovative Swiss enterprises with the developing Chinese market on its way to reaching the goal of the China 2025 initiative. It is a compelling proposition leveraging Swiss innovation culture with the market size of China. If the Belt and Road Initiative is added, the proposition is even more compelling. In an age where resources are hard to get, be the financial capital, raw material, energy or human capital, it is essential to work in an effective and efficient way. Swiss innovation is driven by resource availability in Switzerland, be they energy, commodities, raw material or human capital. Therefore, the constant aim is to overcome these restraints by being efficient as possible. The Belt and Road Initiative requires the efficient use of resources due to the magnitude of the task outlined, the geographical expanse it over and the timeline it wants to achieve. To tackle these challenges, the inclusion of the Swiss approach to innovation and to efficient use of resources provided tangible upsides. It will support the best solution and enable the best use of resources. How can such innovation platforms between two countries work? There are several projects on the way to create the platform, or rather the different platforms. The Swiss way of education, much of its work is legendary. It is the foundation of the quality of the Swiss made, of the labeling Swiss made, and the low unemployment rate, along with many other benefits to the economy and society. China government has realized the advantage of this education approach and it's studying how it can be applied in the Chinese environment. In this context, the One Belt and Road Initiative, one can observe that further opportunities exist in a lot of countries to build on the Swiss experience of craftsmanship education, a system which has been in place for centuries and is key source of Swiss competitiveness in today's world. As a conclusion remark, there are a lot of possibilities regarding this Belt and Road initiatives for Swiss companies. The key is that Swiss companies are kind of pooling together, bringing their workforce together, exchanging on platforms with companies from other countries. Would that be also in China? I referred to the platform in China. And then kind of be able to stand in the first row when it comes to a project, either being in a phase one, meaning that the whole tender, or also in a further step when it comes to technology and also research and development. Thank you very much for giving me the possibility to bring you this initiative a little bit closer, and I will hand over again to my colleague. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon Probst, for his very interesting insights. Our second speaker is Mr. Pavel Ivanov. For many years, Mr. Ivanov has been working for the Swiss Embassy in Kazakhstan, in Astana, and in 2016 he was appointed head of our trade point in Astana. This presentation will focus on Kazakhstan, being the largest country in Central Asia and which is heavily affected by the whole initiative, the One Belt, One Road. So please, Pavel, may I ask you to start your presentation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pavel Ivanov, and I'm merging two positions now. I'm working for the embassy as a trade and economic advisor, and also I'm leading the trade point of SG in Astana, Kazakhstan. Why is OBOR so important for Kazakhstan? I would say Kazakhstan is quite similar to Switzerland. It's a landlocked country. It's surrounded by big countries, and in the case of Kazakhstan, it's Russia, it's China, and also all the southern Stan countries. For this, it's also a big problem in Kazakhstan for the time being, because the western part of the country is not well connected to the central and eastern part. So the Kazakhstan, after the getting independence, understood this problem. So to bring the whole country together, they started to construct a big highway from western China to western Europe. This project will be finished this year already, so the highway is constructed, and it was also like one first part to be also a part of this big initiative of OBOR. Kazakhstan is very proud that 2013, the Chinese President Xi Jinping in Astana announced this program, made it official. It's very important for Kazakhstan to be a part of this initiative, to use the transit potential, and from other part, you can see on the slide the country is quite huge, and to connect the country, to make it more more in common, I would say. What is exactly running in the One Belt and One Road initiative? It's not clear for the time being. I mean, now it's like the planning phase, but Kazakhstan already started to make its part of the big initiative. It means to construct infrastructure for these main corridors. So I would say for Kazakhstan it's important to be an important transit country, to use its transit potential. For this also Kazakhstan constructed, I will just skip the slide, constructed already the new railway from the western part via Turkmenistan to Iran. It means now the Kazakhstan, you can use Kazakhstan territory really to crisscross all the country from east to west and from north to south. The second step of the initiative after constructing the Western Europe railroad is the new development infrastructure program called Nurli-Jol. It's in Kazakh, it's a lighter path. The idea is, as I mentioned before, to invest some money from the investment foundation, from the it was like an oil fund in Kazakhstan to invest into infrastructure projects. For the time being, it's already planned to invest. I mean, there is a special program from 2015 to 2020 to invest in different infrastructure products. I mean, infrastructure projects. Sorry, and already. There are already running some construction in Nurli-Jol program. It's about 3 billion US dollars per year, and we are from the embassy also observing what is possible to do for the Swiss companies. The topic of OBOR is also very active on the political level for our bilateral relations between Kazakhstan and Switzerland. This year, Council Federal Uli Maurer and the President of Swiss Confederation Doris Leuthard visited Astana for the Expo, and they had also some meetings with the Kazakh officials, including the President of the country, Nursultan Nazarbayev, and one of the topics was also the cooperation in the OBOR initiative, I mean from the Swiss part. We see from the embassy, we see really a lot of different opportunities in different ways. We are observing the situation, I mean, from the press. We are contacting our counterparts from other embassies. We are in contact with different international organizations, as for example, as ADB, Asian Development Bank, European Development Bank. So we see a lot of opportunities in different topics in this road initiative. So from my point of view, we have to wait a little bit when this concept will become something concrete, because for the time being from the Kazakh side also, we just hear some projects or some views. What is clear for us that Kazakhstan will be a main part of this initiative, and will use this potential not only for the construction of the infrastructure, but also to bring the business to these main corridors, to boost the development of the country, economic development along the corridors, and will also be like to use this opportunity to boost the export of the local production in agriculture, for example, to bring some, not to bring only the commodities, for example, oil and metals to the foreign markets, but also to boost the local production of agriculture products to China or to Europe. So, as I told you, we will see the opportunities, and we also plan to create like a survey about this project or about the possibilities of Swiss companies in the future. So please visit the website of SG and look for the opportunities also belong to Kazakhstan. Thank you very much. That's all from my side for the moment.
Thank you very much, Pavel, for your presentation. I would like to emphasize again that we are here to support you. First of all, there's possibility to always talk to us here in Switzerland. For you as a Swiss company, it's possible to meet with me or with my colleagues at any time during the year. Now, this week we have kind of a Kazakhstan week where Pavel Ivanov and myself are traveling through Switzerland and meet Swiss companies which are interested in the Kazakh market. So if you have time and some questions regarding Kazakhstan or also other countries, please let us know. So today and tomorrow we still have possibilities for one-to-one meetings. Furthermore, if you happen to be in Astana one day, please make sure to knock on Pavel's door at his office. He's very happy to welcome you in Astana at the Swiss Embassy. Let me also point out to you an event on October 3rd in Zurich. It's called Second Forum on the New Silk Road. This is organized by the Joint Chamber of Commerce, Switzerland, Russia, CIS, and the Swiss-Chinese Chamber of Commerce. This will be a very interesting forum with very good speakers from the private industry sector. So ABB and Stadler Rail will be presenting, but also PwC or a specialist from EBRD and some specialists from all affected countries will be there. So if you are interested in this event, please go to jointchambers.ch and use the registration form they have there. Now we do have time for a few questions, and I see there the question how the direct rail connection to Switzerland should be organized. So to who may I address this question? Pavel?
As my colleague Mr. Probst mentioned, there is still the program with the trucks between China and Europe, I would say, because in our countries, in Kazakhstan and Russia, it's like the old Soviet standard 15-20 millimeters. Now it's like as far as I know, now in the dry port Khorgos in the eastern part of Kazakhstan, the terminal is now like the procedure is going like this, so the bogies are changed now, so it takes quite a long time, so from 5 to 8 hours approximately to change it. For the future, I heard there is a project to use the special bogies that can change the track, so maybe it will be involved in the future, and then the speed will be a little bit faster, I would say. So, but for the time being, the trucks they are changing the trucks, or they overload the containers on the border on Khorgos, and the local trains are bringing the stuff to the western border of Russia, or even to the western border of where the white truck ends, I would say.
Okay, thank you, Pavel. We have a second question, which I would like to address to Simeon. Will OBOR initiative shift the transportation capacity from sea to land? Interesting point.
I would say there is clearly a shift from the sea to the land. There are probably some additional questions to be answered by saying bringing goods from Asia to Europe by on sea. There, it's clearly the price is lower than having the goods on the train. The other thing is also kind of security. Is it really kind of secured that your goods are, when it comes to the train track, that these goods are coming from China to Europe in a secured way? And there are quite a lot of things to clarify, but I would say there is clearly a shift from the sea to the land, but I would say it will be not a shift over 50 or 60% that will go to the land. Probably you want to add something?
Well, I mean, you're right. For the time being, also on the Kazakh side, in the western part, the new seaport named Skurik will be constructed, and it must be also a very important hub in the future, even for the Caspian region. So the idea is also to bring the containers from Khorgos to this new port Kurik, and to transfer them with sea in other Caucasian countries and also to Iran. Also, I forgot to mention that Kazakhstan is also has shares in the Chinese seaport Ling 1 on the western coast of China. So Kazakhstan is quite interested also to boost this direction, and is also very proud to be an investor in China. So this is, what I can say for the time being.
Thank you. So third question, what do you think will be the role of banks in this initiative? As we understand, the initiative is mainly government-driven.
Just something to add. Yes, it's government-driven, but at the end of the day, to secure credits and loans and so on, there are clearly banks. So this is not the thing where we have to say this is just governments that will be there in a kind of key role. There is clearly also for banks for financing loans.
From my point of view, from my side, I can tell that Kazakhstan is trying now to promote a new project of the Astana International Finance Center. The Astana International Finance Center is like a new creation of the Kazakh government to make a big finance center in the capital of Astana, which will be also located, in the city center of the country, plus in the political capital, and also on one corridor of the planned new Silk Road. This Astana International Finance Center will start its works next year, the 1st of January, and in the pavilions of the Expo 2017, which is running also today. But the Kazakh government also sees this Astana International Finance Center also as a part of the planned initiative of China, so to be like a finance center. So if you are interested, you can also Google this project in internet or contact our embassy, and I will send you also more detailed information about this.
I think this will be a very interesting development with the Astana Financial Center. There will be some information on our website as well, because they will probably play a more important role in the future in the whole initiative and the whole financial world. So fourth question is, in shipping, there is usually a lot of costs on deadweight transport. Will OBOR also face a similar issue in terms of cargo shipments? Well, tough one to say now.
Yeah. It's the official, how it calls, the freight companies, not the, I'm not ready to answer it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's quite difficult to answer. It's difficult to answer, to give an answer on that, whether there are also kind of similar issues. Okay, sorry for leaving this question open.
We'll be back with another webinar in a year, so we hope to be able to answer it then. Are there any more questions? We still have some time. Somebody's typing. No more questions? All right. Then I would, first of all, thank you all for being with us during this webinar. We hope that you gained some insight on the topic of the One Belt, One Road initiative. And a special thank you also to Simeon and to Pavel for your expertise on this initiative. Stay tuned on our website as well. We will publish more information on OBOR and also, of course, PwC and the Swiss Embassy in Kazakhstan, and all our colleagues here at SG for the respective countries are ready to help you. If you have any questions, please just contact us and ask us your questions. Thank you very much and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.